I am so excited today because I have a super special guest who I found on Shorts on YouTube. And I have to tell you about him. His name is Clinton Rich. There's a clue right there on how amazing he is. He's the creator of the Neville Goddard, Son of Abdullah YouTube channel, where he brings Neville's life-changing teachings to a new generation. With a deep understanding of the law of assumption, and we do talk about that here, and a passion for making manifestation practical, yes, he crafts engaging content that empowers people to reshape their reality. Because it is a game, remember, that's what Helene Hatzel said. We play this game. His mission is to bridge timeless wisdom with modern audiences, helping them unlock their true potential. Now, he has been studying this type of work his whole life, similar to me, as far back as I can remember. But his YouTube channel's only been around since 2022. So if you haven't discovered him yet, I'm going to introduce you to Clinton Rich, which is a pseudonym, which we're going to talk about. Clinton, I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me, Carolyn. I'm happy to be here with you as well. And I think I may have manifested this from watching all of your videos throughout the years.
Well, then it's not an accident, right? They always say it's synchronistic. And I came across your video talking about Helene Hatzel. You know, we all love Helene. And this is where I wanted to talk about your name, because I saw your intake form, because I knew your name wasn't Neville. That would be the coincidence of all coincidences.
No, not Neville.
And when you put your name down, I went, I think that's a pseudonym and that you've taken on the persona just like Helene did. So tell us how you came to decide to embody what you are.
I always have felt like I was rich in life, like I was wealthy in life. And I've had spiritual gifts since an early age that, you know, just came to me, and I felt rich. But I was given this name. Someone that was that's very dear to me in my life, she was telling me, you know, I've always seen you with money. I always see you as being successful. I'm going to call you Clinton Rich. And I said, okay, all right, I'll take it. So Clinton Rich, she every time I talked to her, she would call me Clinton Rich, and it just sticks. And since I am a law of assumption teacher, I figured, why not go with this and embody that energy, so that when we're teaching this information, we're giving that to other people, and they feel wealth, they feel richness as well.
Yeah, because it's not just rich with money, it's rich in life.
That's a fact.
Right? Because you can be rich with friends, you can be rich with love, you can be rich with family, you can be rich in so many ways, and that just encapsulates them all. And now, here's a question. Is. Have you ever done the numerology on your birth name versus your taken name?
No, I have not done the numerology on it yet.
We're going to have to do a show on that.
Okay,
that'll be interesting, because Helene, that's the reason I thought it was so fascinating that you took on another persona, is because Helene Hatzel was famous for that. Her birth name was Helen. She never actually legally changed her name, but after she learned numerology, she added the E because it changed her from a 2 to a 7, and that gave her a different persona. And if you look at her life path, it actually changed. You can see the change from a 2 to a 7. I would love to. We'll do that one day, and maybe we'll do like a short or something.
Okay.
And talk about that, because I think that'd be fascinating. Now, how did you come to name? Like, what inspired you to start the Neville Goddard, Son of Abdullah, like YouTube channel? Like, why did you start taking the work that you were embodying and decide to share it with the world?
I've been studying the law of assumption probably specifically since, I'll say, 2015. And listening to Neville's teachings, reading his books, diving deep into it, putting it into my life. And I just realized I need to put this information out here, and I need to put it out here in my own way to help people. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to help people. My mother used to tell me she would think that, you know, I might teach or be a preacher someday. And I'd be like, Mom, that's not me. I'm not going to be a reverend, a minister, any of those things, but I do like helping people. So I don't know what came over me in 2022, but I just came to a point where like I need to share this information from my perspective. And then I saw that Neville spoke a lot about his teacher Abdullah, and there wasn't a lot of information on Abdullah, but I saw that he was an instrumental figure in Neville's life in teaching him the law of assumption. So I thought, okay, let's go for it and see what happens.
That's so interesting that you said that, because your mom actually saw the archetypes in you, and she used the labels that she understood for those archetypes, but you're actually embodying those archetypes because she said, oh, I see you as a preacher or a teacher. Well, that's what you're doing. You're just doing it differently on YouTube.
Exactly.
And I chuckled when you said, well, I don't know what came over me. I felt like in 2022, I had to do it. We all have a soul contract, and probably that clause in your soul contract unlocked in 2022.
Right.
And you went, right. Oh, now it's time to do this part.
And it's like when you're called, it's almost like when you're called, you have to answer. I know you probably feel this too.
Yes.
Like you got the calling and it's almost bugging you. It's in your ear. So you had to answer it. And that's kind of what happened in 2022. And I thought this was the best method for me to help people at this point in my life, in my journey.
That is so cool. I love it. Now, what has been like, so you're applying specifically Neville. Now, what's amazing is the reason there's so many teachers is they're all saying the same thing in a different way, because all of us learn in a different way, and all of us hearing something a different way, one teacher will click. So obviously Neville's teaching really clicked with you, which I think is fantastic because he was wonderful. He would have been really cool to meet. So how has his teachings like changed your life? Like, what did you notice was the biggest, oh, this is where it's really, changed for me?
I think one of the biggest shifts was actually 3D. Our 3D world, our experiences that we have in the three-dimensional world, right?
Yeah.
It was really ignoring the 3D. Like if you're going through something in life, you may have a bad experience or something that we as humans perceive as something bad happening. Oh, somebody cut me off on the road today. Oh, I get angry. And then I start manifesting more things in my life that I don't want that day. I had a, I guess, a moment where it was just like, boom, you don't have to react to 3D. You don't have to react to every moment that happens in your life that you don't like. You're actually in control. And in being in control of your emotions and your vibration and how you feel, you can create a different reality. So once that happened, it kind of transformed me. And I realized that, oh, this is more than I thought it was. And the reality that we live in is essentially more than we think it is. We have more control over it, I think, than we give ourselves credit for.
Oh, I believe that. And I still sometimes struggle with it. I always say I'm a puny human and I get stuck sometimes. I think that's really a good eye opener. I want to repeat what you said. You don't have to react to what's happening around you, or you can choose the emotions to react with. You'd be like, oh, that's interesting, instead of
it's something
anger.
Similar to what I believe the Buddha taught in his teachings is be the observer. I think they teach that in Buddhism. Like, as human beings, we're observing, right? You don't always have to be a part of the actions that are going on in front of you. You don't always have to react to them. So if you take a step back and you observe, it allows you to kind of conserve your energy and then put your energy where you want it to go.
That's a good tip right there. Conserve. I like what you said, that conserve your energy and then you can redirect it. That's very important. So now, Neville, It's been almost 100 years since he's been teaching. I know, right?
That's
So
insane.
how is his message this is how they're timeless, but why do you think today's audience is ready to hear something that's 100 years old?
I think, like you just said, it's timeless information, but now more so than any time that I've seen, as a person that is a history buff,
Mm.
anytime that I've seen it, like now is a time where people are more open and open-minded to new information or the information that they haven't heard before regarding spirituality, psychology, and how the human mind works. Uh, I believe it still resonates with people because the younger generations actually are interested in learning more about themselves and how they can live a life that may be different than what their parents or grandparents led. And I think that the law of assumption, the law of attraction, manifestation has given us another way to think about how we're living our lives and how we're going about our daily lives and how we reach our goals here.
Oh, so what you're saying is the new generation has kind of woken up a bit and said, oh, I don't have to live like my parents did. I can pick a whole new mindset. I don't just have to listen to, for example, a big one is you have to work hard for money. I can change that script in myself because I listened to Neville and Clinton and learned this new technique, and I can choose my own path. Like they can make a conscious choice to change that scripting, and they're
Absolutely.
open to it. That's what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I think Colleen may have spoke about this, because I know Jose Silva and others have spoken about it from the age of that were born until like 7 years old, right?
Yeah.
We're in an alpha state and we're just taking on information from our parents. It's going into our subconscious and they're programming us like little computers. And we're given all this information. So we think we have to go out in the world and hard work is the only way to succeed. You got to work hard. You have to sacrifice. I'll tell you the truth. I've done all of those things and they don't actually work as well as being aligned, with yourself. I'm just being honest.
It's true. I mean, sometimes depending on what you label as hard, when I go out to clean the garden in the spring, it feels hard because I get a little stiff after. But I enjoy the physicality of it and being outside. And tip, don't wear shoes when you garden because then you're grounding to Mother Earth.
That
But
makes sense.
I say everybody has hard in their life. You get to choose the hard. It's a
That's a
different
good one.
hard because we're
You're absolutely
human.
right.
Dang it.
You're absolutely right. And I think hard, like you're saying, it is relative. But when you're doing something that is aligned with your spirit, with your soul, and with your purpose in life, the
It
work
doesn't
isn't
feel like
really
work.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
it
really.
doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it.
Now, this is interesting because there's a lot of terms used, and Helene teaches mostly the law of attraction because that was the big word at her time. So this is how the evolution is, right? Because her book came out in 71, but I think his book came out in 30, I want to say 3 or 6, 30,
Mm.
1933 or 1936. But he talks about the law of assumption. So do you want to talk about how it really works and maybe what the difference is for people so they understand?
Okay. What I'll say is, I think there may be a difference in how the law of attraction and the law of assumption is taught, but I don't actually think that there is a big difference in them. What Neville teaches is the law of assumption. The law of assumption is that you have a desire, right? You select that desire, you embody that desire, you live your life like you already have it in your life. So you're assuming I have that. If, if I wanted $10, oh, I need $10 because I want to get something to eat. I assume that I already have that. I can do a I can do a visualization. I can do some type of act in my mind that shows that I already have that $10. but I'm assuming in living my life like I have the $10. So the $10 is bound to show up because I just influenced my subconscious mind to bring it to me in reality. So that's what Neville's teaching. The law of attraction, from my understanding, is teaching you that you need to keep a high vibration so that you attract the things you want in your life, which is similar to the law of assumption. And if you have a desire, you have to act as if you already have the desire. So you live your life the
Kind of the
same. So
same.
I don't see it as a big difference. I just think that it may be interpreted different by viewers or readers based off of who is teaching it.
Yeah, I think the law of assumption is a little more grounded in that it's impossible to be high vibe all the time because we are humans and we are designed to experience everything from anger to grief to joy to excitement to the mundane of everyday life. Like we're meant to have it all. It wouldn't be any fun. It was just all joy. Granted, that's why we appreciate it. So because many people have a hard time looking around, so they'll look around their 3D world and go, okay, where's my $10? I don't see the $10. They struggle with living in the future. Like it's almost living in the future, like assuming it's already here, like you're bringing it this way instead of you moving towards it. So what is that the biggest mistake people make when they're trying to manifest, or is there a different mistake?
There's lots of mistakes, I guess you could say, or areas.
Okay, so let's go through
not
them.
really
How many
mistakes.
mistakes do you want to talk about?
We can talk about them all. I don't know if we'll
Well,
get
yeah,
through
let's
all,
help people. Okay, let's go with the biggest one that you find first.
Well, let's start with this. I'm not going to call it a mistake. It's feedback. There's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback, right?
Good word. Okay.
So what I'll say is that what you're talking about is like, oh, you said the future. Oh, them living in the future, having that mindset, living in the future. No. We're making a mistake there because there's no such thing as the future. There's no such thing as the past. The only thing that exists is the now, the present. So
correct.
When we think about it from that point of view, I think it'll be easier for people to conceptualize and get in their mind like, I have this right now because this is the moment that it exists. And what Neville taught was that you do these imaginal acts, or it's a visualization. It's really an all-encompassing visualization where you see yourself in that moment, living with it now. So I'm living with my $10 now. I'm going to the 7-Eleven or the store to spend my $10 right now. And you embody that, and that, I don't want to get too complicated, but basically time collapses into that now moment. So that $10 will come to you, if not immediately, but it will come to you soon if you embody that.
Yeah,
living in the now.
A lot of teachers teach this too. Like, of course, famously, Eckhart Tolle with The Power of Now. And in the Silva method, they actually teach a method where it's called mirror of the mind, where you see the situation you don't want and you swipe it away, and then you envision the situation now that you do want. So it's mirror it's called mirror of the mind because you're supposed to mirror, like you said, feedback. It could almost be called feedback of the mind, just like what you said, right?
You'd be right about that.
To you. So, and that's one of the things we actually we had a little chat before we started recording, that sometimes our language is so ingrained that even some of us that study it, you use words that come, quote, naturally because it's so ingrained that you don't even notice it, even when you're conscious of it and working on altering that language. So it's a good exercise for maybe journaling to change that language.
I think so. Journaling will help in how you convey your messages. And we were talking about that earlier. And I think that goes back to the point of, your programming. from the age of 0 to 7 as a child, right? A lot of things we pick them up, and it becomes a part of our daily language, and we don't realize it. We may be programming ourselves or our subconscious for potentially negative experiences by the words that we use. You should never use the term "I'm broke," right? Oh, so if somebody says, "Oh, I wanted money," do you have money? I'm broke. No, you're not broke. You may be without money at this moment, but you're not broke. Just like, oh, I'm sick. Oh no, you might not be feeling your best, but you don't want to say I'm sick. You want to say I'm well. I'm getting better and better every day. I'm healthy. Use these terms that are going to speak life into you and bring you the things you want. And let's be real. Let's be real, Carolyn. I don't do it all of the time. I make mistakes because, like you said, we're human. We're having this human experience. I make the mistakes, but I'm very conscious of it. So I do my best to write down words, journal how I'm feeling. I do my best to meditate, do those imaginal acts, and be very careful and deliberate when I'm speaking, so that I'm not saying things that are going to push me in a vibration or push me to experiences that I don't really want to have.
Yeah, it's good though to learn, see that, like you said, it's not a mistake, it's feedback. That's so brilliant. I'm going to quote you on that and put it on Instagram or something. It's so brilliant.
Go right ahead. I can't take credit for these things either. It comes to us.
True, but it's good to teach and show people where they can go learn more. Now, I like how you put in what I sent you a sheet and said, what are we going to talk about? And you said how the Name It and Claim It game actually aligns with Neville's teachings. Now, I haven't read anything about Helene reading Neville's work, but I'm positive that she would have, because you can't do all the studying she did and not have read any of Neville's work. Because I know she read Florence Scovel Shinn, who was a predecessor to Neville Goddard. So it would be a natural assumption.
and to be honest, she was friends with Joseph Murphy. And
I know, right?
I'll tell you a little, maybe a fact. We don't know it as a fact. Supposedly, Murphy and Neville Goddard had the same teacher in the law of assumption, and that was Abdullah. Supposedly, Abdullah taught Joseph Murphy as well. There's word about it. I wasn't able to confirm it because I don't know if in any of Joseph Murphy's books he actually spoke about that. But if you read Joseph Murphy, I could see how they may have had the same teacher, because there's a lot of overlapping information. And I believe, like Dr. Murphy himself said, when Helene asked why he keeps saying the same thing, it's like people need to hear it again and again. They need the repetition.
Yeah, it's true. Even me.
Even me too. But I think that's a great thing.
That's why it's good that there's programs like yours, because then, especially on YouTube, because you can just watch it again, or you can even put it in the background. Exactly. I love listening to shows like yours when I'm doing what I call Zen work, where you don't really think about it. Like if I'm washing the dishes or folding laundry, and I just have it playing, where I don't have to fully listen, but I know my subconscious is listening.
Exactly.
And I can absorb the information while I'm keeping one side of my brain busy while the other one's learning. Just a tip for everybody. Now, this is good because I catch myself even using this word all the time. You said you wanted to talk about this, and it's so important. The difference between knowing versus hoping when it comes to manifesting, because so many times we say, oh, I hope this happens. That just keeps it out there.
Hope hope is not even giving us an expectation of change. Hope is that's a longing. It's a feeling of lack. I hope.
Mm.
I hope this comes to me. I hope we're able to go here. I hope, you know, I hope people treat me well when I go to the store today. Why are we hoping? You have power over yourself. You have power over your mind, and the energy that we have, we're putting that out into the world. So don't hope. No. When you if you look at anybody who's won contests like uh, you know, I've won contests as well.
Ooh,
Knowing. But it's like you win when you know. You stop hoping and you just let go and you have a knowing in yourself. You stop stressing about things, you let it go, and you let what is for you come to you. I think hoping is a vibration of desperation when we're using that word and we don't know it. So I think that's one I tried to check. See, I just used the word now, try. But
I know it just slips out sometimes. Now that's interesting because one of the things I teach when I teach people how to win giveaways, I approach it differently than Helene. She would pick one thing and enter it and focus on it and win that prize. I like the hobby of entering for many different things. She said, you're splitting your energy. And I know she's right. But I think for me, and also the hobby is way different than it was in her day.
mm-hmm.
It's to me, it's more fun to sit down and enter, a ton of giveaways in an hour and just enjoy the time. Ooh, that looks like a nice thing. Oh, I could go here and I could win that mixer. I can win tickets to that and I can do this. And I just get excited. And I always say, I wonder if this is the one I'm going to win. So I know I'm going to win. I just don't know which one. I like the Christmas aspect of it when I get a call or an email or a notification that I won something and it's a surprise. I like that part of it.
So
And
you're big
so
on the
that's how
surprise.
I play it. But I assume, so unlike Helene, who assumed on a specific item, I assume I'm going to win. I just don't know which one.
That's an interesting perspective. And I'm sure I think that makes it a little bit more fun because you'll
I
be
think
surprised
so.
with at least one of the things that you actually do want.
Right. So people could use that for almost anything. You can say you're going out and you have to run a bunch of errands today. Ooh, I wonder which one of my errands today is going to have a surprise waiting for me that's going to be fun and magical. And just go out and see what happens. I did that one day.
Okay.
And I said, I'm walking along and I talk out loud like a crazy person. And I said to the universe, I want something like a surprise today, just something fun and out of the blue. And I was walking, I was picking up a new prescription. So I was walking from where I parked my car to the store, and it's in this neighborhood to a main road. And I'm walking along, and there was a guy out in his garden, and I waved hello because, I'm polite. And he goes, are you in TikTok? And I was like, what? It was like 5 minutes after I made that declaration, and we had a good chat. And then I filmed him a little bit. We had a talk, and I did a video. And then when I posted it, his wife commented on it. She says, oh, I was wondering who he was talking to.
The universe showed up for you, answered quickly.
Right? Now, that's just one example. So imagine what happens if you go out today, if you have to run errands, and you say, wonder what exciting and magical and funny little surprise is going to happen to me today. And it could be anything. And it just makes life fun.
And I think that you use the term fun. That's the big thing. We have to make it fun.
Oh, I do that. My family sometimes just shakes their head at me with all the adventures that I go on. My daughter calls them Carolyn adventures when something just goes. Now, seriously though, because we want to give people the knowledge that they can just take these tools. It's like a recipe book, right? If you give somebody a cookbook and said make a chocolate cake, and they flip through and they read it and they follow the instructions, they're going to end up with a nice chocolate cake. So this is the same thing. You're going to give people like a recipe for real success to prove that it works. So what have you, cooked up in your life that you can say to people, look, I did this, I did XYZ, and this is what happened. And you could do XYZ and see what happens for you.
Okay. I'll start with the channel first, right? I manifested this channel. In my mind, I was going to make this channel, but I manifested it. I wanted to grow the channel. We didn't reach our goal yet, but I knew that I wanted to get to 10,000 followers or 10,000 subscribers by a certain time. I saw myself as having that. I saw people commenting on videos. I saw people asking for help. I saw that in a visualization. I visualized that. So let's say YouTube. If you're a YouTube creator, I'll use that as a quick example. You want to have 25,000 subscribers. So you sit and you visualize, you looking at your YouTube studio screen and seeing that number, 25,000. Do that for about 5 minutes, and then just leave it. Stop thinking about it, leave that, go about your day. Go about your day, go keep doing the normal things that you do. Do your best to be as positive as possible too. And then watch as it just happens. It will happen. That's what the law of assumption is teaching you. And that's one of the things that helped me. I'll say the law of assumption, and I want to say spec also has helped me win sweepstakes.
What have you won?
Okay.
I'm so curious.
One of ones years ago that I won was a concert. Well, it wasn't a concert, it's a play. There's a artist, he was a jazz fusion artist in the 70s, wow. I believe, Fela Kuti. They did this whole production for it. And I thought to myself, yo, I want to go to that. I applied. I randomly selected the sweepstakes. I actually forgot that I had applied to it, but I did it with the spec method. And then boom, in my inbox, hey, you have these tickets to go to the Fela Kuti show in Los Angeles. I said, oh, this works. This is awesome. I did that. I also won a sweepstakes of free cheese. I did that for my sister. I do them for myself. I do them for other people. Yeah.
I do for other people too. And what's better, and this is what I teach my daughter. I taught her this with pizza. What's better than pizza? Free pizza. So what's better than cheese? Free cheese.
Free cheese. I tell you.
Who's going to be mad at free cheese? That's the best. I love prizes like that. Yeah, it's the best hobby because you just don't know what's going to show up next. It's so fun. And I got a marketing background. I love me some good swag. Give me something that's cute and branded.
Yeah, I won some Caesar stuff I won some stuff for my dog also. We got some it was a throwaway. It was a throwaway sweepstakes to me because I'm like, I don't really need this, but okay. Caesar's dog.
So I do that all the time. I don't actually need but I would love a.
Yeah, the dog might like it. But I think that what we both said here is the lack of need. We're not saying I don't need this, right? I'll enjoy it if I have it, but I'm good regardless. And I think when you have a desire and you let go, I think that's what brings things to you. I've also obviously won money as well. I've won some grants that I've applied to. I've won small lotteries. I haven't won the jackpot off of using this yet, but I haven't really tried to win a lottery jackpot off of using the law of assumption.
Just tip, if you want a different route to that, there's something in the United States, they call them second chance drawings. And so you have to go to your state lottery website and look to see which tickets have second chance drawings, because you can take all the losing tickets and enter them. And sometimes people will talk to convenience store owners and maybe get all the tickets that would end up in the bin and enter them, and they win money. You can enter them. I remember filling up gas once.
Wow.
I was on a road trip in the States, and someone had thrown a bunch of scratchers, like all the losing scratchers on the ground, and they were blowing all over the parking lot. So I ran around picking them all up, and I mailed them to one of my friends in Florida because I couldn't enter them because I wasn't a resident of Florida. But it gave them a chance to win other prizes. So basically, somebody's garbage is another man's potential lottery win.
Exactly. There's treasure to be found everywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one. Treasure. There's treasure to be found everywhere. I highly recommend The Luck Factor by Dr. Richard Wiseman. And it's 4 principles. So he scientifically studied luck, and he discovered that the people who had a positive winning mindset saw winning opportunities more often. And the people that didn't struggled and all those things. So there's something called the reticular activator. So if you are expecting, so say you decided you want your 10,000 subscribers. So you're looking around, you're expecting the 10,000 subscribers. It could be this video. You could connect with somebody that's going to get you, like, you don't know how it's going to come, but you know it's coming. And so you're always looking for those. And then maybe one day you'll read something, you'll have an inspiration to make a video that pops up. You don't know how the door will open. And the negative people wouldn't see any of those. They would never get the inspiration. They would never have the idea. The YouTube channel would, peter out, maybe get some violations. Like, it just wouldn't be popping off because they're just like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. It's not working. But you're like, you have a different attitude.
And what I think,
so that's how it's gonna come out, because you've turned on that reticular activator to, I want to get to 10,000. That's happening. And then I message you and go, can I interview you? You're amazing.
It was manifestation working.
Right?
It literally was the law of assumption working. I've watched and listened to many of your interviews, many of your videos for years. And I thought to myself, it'd be great to meet Carolyn one day. Literally. So
now you're stuck with me as a friend.
That's awesome. Got a friend for life, hopefully. That's what it does. And we were talking about the reticular activating system. We have videos on that speak about that. And I just thought to myself now, like, maybe the reticular activating system and many of these things in our subconscious mind, they're just channels. Maybe it's just channels. Those negative people aren't turning on the channel for the RAS. They're in a negative channel. I never
thought of that.
Yeah, we've tuned in the reticular activating system, that channel. And now we're seeing those opportunities. So if you could just ease your mind and tune in to the positive channels in your life, you'll see the opportunities.
Now, we were just talking about Dr. Richard Wiseman, who did scientific studies on luck. So what other psychology or science have proven some of Neville's work? Because I don't know all of this. I don't know everything.
You know a lot.
I know a lot.
Which side? I would say that Jose proved a lot of that in his work with the study of psychology and with the subconscious mind. Once you program the subconscious mind, you will experience different things because you're programming your mind for a different reality. There will be different connections, different synapses that are created in the brain that make you look for other things, look for positive things to happen in your experience. Also, I think Dr. Joe Dispenza's teachings.
Yes. Love him.
Dive deeper into that. I think his books are pretty good because he teaches that you should basically, it's the same thing as Neville, but I believe it's more from a scientific perspective. Neville teaches you have to get rid of the old man and become the new man or become the new woman. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, you have to stop the habit of being yourself. and actually become a different version of yourself by programming your brain.
Yeah. Wire by wire by wire.
Exactly.
Now this is interesting because children do this and we program it out of them, because a lot of times, how many children do we know that had imaginary friends when they were little, which I'm betting weren't actually imaginary, probably friends from other dimensions?
Exactly.
And we say they're not real. So we want to get back to that almost childlike mindset. So can you explain how, because people find it hard to pretend. They say, well, if I don't have that $10, how can I just pretend I have $10? I can't go out and spend $10 I don't have. Like, how can you get them over that and get them from the negative or disbelief to pretending, and then eventually to the reality?
One of the things I try to do, I use that word again, but one of my favorite things to do is to actually get people to stop. Just stop for a second. I don't need you to believe or do anything. Just stop the negative thoughts. Stop that thought pattern. That's not you anymore. Once I get you to stop, then we can incorporate something new into your life. And then it's just try this. If we, were on the ball field as kids playing kickball or whatever other game we played as kids, we would just do it. We'd have a good time with it. We'd have fun. Stop with the expectations. Just act as a childlike person, meaning be happy, be joyful, focus on the experience itself and live in it. It doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. That's why I keep it to 5 minutes with some of these imaginal acts.
Yeah, not too long.
Even Helene said this. You can only have one thought at a time, right? So why not have a positive thought? So I get people to think positively about one thing that they want. Live in that. I have $10. Just live in that, sit in that. This is what you're doing with your $10. Go over it again and again for 5 minutes. And I'm telling you, you'll have the feeling. So if you only have that feeling for 5 minutes a day, that's fine to start. That's fine. But I'm telling you, it'll change their reality. It will change their reality.
You know what? We're talking about $10, and I just have this story of Jack Canfield running through my head. I used to have this tape set. Yes, I am that old. And he told the story about how he wanted to manifest more money in his life. And his coach said, I want you to focus on amount of money that you think is so large that it's impossible. And he was a teacher at the time, and he was only making $35,000. So he said, I want to earn $100,000 this year. And he took a Bristol board and he drew on it to make it look like a $100,000 bill. Like he took a $1 bill and added a lot of zeros. And he made it and he taped it to the ceiling above his bed. So it was the last thing he saw when he went to sleep, and it was the first thing he saw when he woke up, right when you're with that reticular activator. And he focused on it and journaled for 6 weeks. Nothing happened. And then he got an idea of selling a little book that he had that he had it for $25. And he said, well, if I sell 400,000 of those, I'd have $100,000. And so he had all these ideas over the year. And at the end of the year, they made like 96,000 something dollars. And he goes, was I upset that I was like a little short? He's like, no. He said, but then a week later, it hit him. It worked. And so why didn't he ask for $1 million? Right? It hit him that he was setting his bar too low, and he was mad at himself because he was like, oh, but I think also he needed a stepping stone, because $1 million was too big. Like already 100,000 was out of his range. And then once he hit 100, now he's like, oh, $1 million doesn't seem so far. If I can do this, I can do that. And so if you're uncomfortable, say we said $10, we could say $100, we could say 1,000 or 10,000 or $1 million. right? We can pick any number. So just pick a number that's just outside your comfort zone, and then, just get to the next one.
And that's what you're speaking about is exactly what Neville taught. Because using the law of assumption, it has to feel normal for you. Whatever you're attempting to manifest, it has to be normal for you. So $10 might be one person's normal in their head, but somebody else who's more confident in themselves and their energy to manifest may say the 100,000 is good. I can manifest $1 million. I'm manifesting $1 million. But when you're doing those imaginal acts with I believe Jack Canfield, was that Chicken Soup for the Soul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got rejected 145 times before someone published the book.
It's not, and that's another one. Rejection. Rejection's not always rejection is redirection.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying he gives the story of, well, we didn't give up because we knew this was a good book. We just had to find someone that agreed with us. And it took us 145 times before we found the person that said yes, but they weren't going to stop. It could have been 300. He wouldn't have stopped.
That what you just said is instrumental in manifesting. That's why you can't stop. You shouldn't get discouraged, but I know it happens, but you can't stop because it is already yours. And another thing that you said that he was doing was falling asleep, looking at, I guess, the $100,000 bill that he created.
Right.
Though what Neville calls that are sats, or state akin to sleep. Before you fall asleep, you make sure that you're programming your mind. You do the imaginal act. You see yourself having what you already want. If you wanted a successful business, you see yourself operating in that business as someone who has already has $2 million in annual revenue, has 10 employees, is taking care of the community. Whatever it is, you create that imaginal act as you're falling asleep, because you're programming yourself. And as you wake up the next day, you're going to embody those characteristics and be that new person. You keep doing that every night, it's bound to happen. So even if you get 147 rejections, doesn't matter. You only need one yes, and it will happen.
Right. That's just the same with Edison. It was 10,000 tries. He had his team working on it, and there was 10,000. Well, this didn't work. That didn't work. They knew they were going to have it. They just had to figure out how it was going to work. Like, what were the steps? And sometimes, well, it depends on what it is, but I always tell people have fun along the way.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always something going on with me. That's Helen Keller. One of Helene's favorite quotes is by Helen Keller. And Helen Keller was, had a huge amount of obstacles to overcome in her life. And she said, life is a daring adventure or it's nothing. And I like the idea of living life every day as it's a daring adventure.
I'm with you, Carolyn. I think it makes it more exciting. It makes it more fun. And when we're talking about these things that involve manifestation, using the law of assumption or any other method, you got to have fun with it, because once we reach adulthood, we're so serious. We have all of these things that we're so serious about. And then we wonder sometimes why life can feel like a burden if you're not being fun or being light with it. So when you're trying to do manifestational acts or visualizations, you can't burden yourself with it. You can't say, oh, I'm going to sit in my chair and do my visualization. This is going to be rough. No, this is supposed to be fun time. This is a fun time.
You know what I also think of? I love my TikTok. And one of my favorite things to see what I believe is the law of assumption in practice is Keith Lee, where he goes to the different restaurants. And these people, the one that was really big was the woman who had the amazing, because I love banana pudding. And I don't make it. I've made it a couple times, but there's nothing like a good banana pudding. And this woman had this restaurant or a little cafe, and it was doing terrible, but she knew she had the best banana pudding, and she was putting it out to the universe. Like, come on, like, I have the best banana pudding. And he showed up one day, and then there was lines around the block. Like, she couldn't have planned that, predicted it, but she just knew that the world needed her banana pudding.
And that's what Neville teaches.
And right? And you can't plan that. She just assumed that one day her community was going to enjoy these gifts she had. And one thing I always say is that we need every piece of the puzzle. Because, for example, they say, well, there's a lot of people who talk about Neville. Why would I listen to you? Because you're saying it in a different way. You are going to reach the people that need to hear it from you, because you are an important piece in this mosaic of a universe. And there's never been another Clinton, and there never will be another Clinton. And we need to have Clinton, because you need to reach these souls, particular souls, to change their life for the better. And you don't know, this is one thing I always say, you don't know how big your pebble is. So imagine we take Clinton and we throw him in a pond, and all those ripples come out, right? You don't know how far those ripples are going to go, and you don't know what they're going to connect with. But you're trusting that they're going to reach the people that need to reach. And sometimes you don't even know. Like Helene thought that the worldwide market for the name it and claim it game was finished because she only saw publishing to a certain level. She didn't know that this world had this capability. And she wanted it translated, and she wanted to do audiobooks, and she wanted it to be like this, and it never did it. But she always says there's no failure, only a delay in results. And guess what? Her books are in Spanish. I'm working on German, French, and Italian. And we're finalizing the last Audible. So all her books will be on audio.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Like, she started it. I'm finishing it. So you started this. You have no idea where it's going. Right. I know it's going to be big.
You're right.
But that's why this isn't wishful. Like you talk about this wishful thinking. It's not. I don't think it's wishful thinking at all. It's wishes. Didn't Neville say it was you act as if the wish has been fulfilled?
You have to live as if the wish is fulfilled. You live as if your wish is fulfilled. And that's the big thing of the assumption. So if you know, Helene, she's still manifesting through you. That's actually wild, because even you leave the physical body, you're still manifesting. But living with the wish fulfilled is, yes, this is what I desired. I desired a $2 million revenue business. I desired to reach 100 million people per year and help them. You see it, you live like that person, and then you embody those characteristics.
You know what? You said that, and the second you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, you are embodying Neville, and he's manifesting through you. Oh my God.
I hope so. I hope so.
Because totally. I could see it. The second you said it, I knew it. You know, there's knowing. Sometimes you just know something. The second you said that, I was like, you're doing it too, just with somebody else. Okay, so this is exciting. Oh, I didn't expect to have that in the conversation. Now, where do you see this going? Where's your vision? I mean, and you might even be thinking small now that I'm saying all this out loud. I'm thinking his vision might even be too small. It might keep going.
Well, I'll tell you my vision. I should probably say I don't know how big or small it is, because anything can happen, right? But our goal here with the channel is I want to change the lives of at least 11 million people in 2025. Positively change the lives of 11 million people.
Love that.
That was my goal last year. We didn't get there, but we continue to reach a lot of people. We continue to get people engaged with the channel. So I want to reach 11 million people and positively change their lives in 2025. This is why we offer the consultations. This is why I continue to put videos out, books out, other resources, newsletter with free resources. I want to do my part, and this is my part, I guess, in carrying on Neville's legacy, carrying on Abdullah's legacy, and sharing these things with the world, because I think, like you said, we're all a part and a piece of this mosaic. We're all, some people use the term God, some people use the term universe. I think we all are pieces of that infinite creation, and we're trying to bring each other back together so that we can have a wonderful experience here. So my goal is to just help people create better lives for themselves using manifestation.
So what is your advice for anybody that's struggling, where they say, I've been trying to do this. I know that word trying. I've been trying to do this and it hasn't showed up yet, or I really want that, or the other word we've been saying is, oh, I really hope I, get that job or meet that person, or I wish it's, they're living in the wishful thinking. I wish I could go on vacation this year. How do we help people get over that to, oh, I wonder which person I'm going to meet in the next 3 months is going to be the one, or which trip am I going to win so I can go on that vacation?
You're right. The first thing I would tell people to do, like I said before, is stop. One, be patient with yourself, because all of the things, the way that you said this, the way that you frame it, people are beating themselves up for having negative thoughts or having negative emotions. Stop identifying with these. We don't know how we don't know how you even have those negative thoughts, if they're even yours. I know Helene and others have spoken about this. You don't know whose energy field you're in. If you're in a potentially bad environment that's not conducive for you, you may be taking on other people's energy. So first, stop blaming yourself. Stop getting down on yourself for having even these negative emotions, and just chill. Take a deep breath. Stop identifying with it. Once you do that, then we can start with, okay, what's one thing we can think positively about? You want to manifest that dream vacation? All right, boom. We have to do it. We're going to do a visualization, or we'll do a set, a state akin to sleep. Every night when you go to sleep, I want you to see yourself having fun in Bora Bora. I want you to see yourself swimming, with turtles coming by you, or, swimming in crystal clear blue water. And I need you to embody that. So fall asleep thinking that. And then, oh, I did it just once. It didn't happen. Do it every night. Do it like Abdullah told Neville. I don't know how familiar everybody is with Neville, but Neville wanted to go back to Barbados. He had no money. He wanted to go visit his family for, I believe it may have been Christmas. He hadn't been home in years.
I think it was Christmas. This is a good story to tell, just to remind people.
Right? He hadn't been home in years. He had this feeling that he wanted to go home. He tells Abdullah, hey, Ab, I want to go to Barbados, but I'm broke. I have no money. And Abdullah says, you're in Barbados, and then closes the door on him. What do you mean, Ab? I'm in New York. I'm not in Barbados. Abdullah says to him again, Neville, you are in Barbados, sleeping in your mother's home. So what he told him was basically go to sleep every night as if you were sleeping in your mother's home in Barbados. And lo and behold, he did this, and he got upset. He wasn't back in Barbados after a few days. He went to Abdullah again. He continued to do this. And then after, I believe it may have been like 3 weeks, he received a ticket to go home to Barbados from his brother, a ticket with money included. And, lo and behold, he went to Barbados, and he had to really do nothing but the imaginal act. So what I would tell people to do is that, but cut the negativity off first. Don't align yourself with that before you start attempting to do your manifestational acts. And we know that you're not going to be positive all the time. You're not going to be upbeat unless you are that type of a person already. So I'm not talking to you guys. If that's you, you probably don't need this message. But
it's a good reminder, though. I always say it's consistency over time equals results. Just like getting fit or eating healthy or winning prizes. It's kind of the same thing, right? Consistency. And I've had manifestations happen instantly. I've had them happen the next day. I've had some take a decade. And I know people don't like to hear that, but sometimes things have to change. So my example is I wanted an interdependent relationship, but I was in a codependent marriage. So the universe is like, are you sure you want that? And I went, yes. And they go, okay. And then life turned upside down because I had to change all of that and then do a lot of inner work. And then I was ready.
You're right. And sometimes it does.
And it took a decade, and people go, a decade. And then it wasn't always fun, but I knew that was out there and I had to go through all the steps. And I got it. But some people go, this isn't right. And this fell apart and that went bad. Right?
Carolyn, you know what you just talked about?
We label it as bad, but it was part of the process to get to where I wanted to be. It's like walking through the swamp on your way to the beach.
It can be rough, but this is what Neville said. Neville calls this the bridge of incidents.
Oh, I didn't know that. I got to read his book again. I haven't read his stuff in forever.
What you just spoke about, your 10-year journey was the bridge of incidents. From the time that you put that intention in the world for it to manifest in 3D, it was that bridge of incidents, these events that needed to happen for your manifestation to come about. It would have happened regardless. And maybe if you would have let go or released control or I don't know, it might have happened faster, but usually it's just divine timing. It happened exactly when it was supposed to.
Yeah, some of it is divine timing, because I remember knowing this and some days going, why does it feel like I'm slogging through mud? Like my brain knew it, but I couldn't get this to kind of match. And I'm like, I'm slogging through mud. This is hard. And I'm in my brain, I'm doing all the things. And I couldn't get them to match for a long time because I had to go through that. I said, I don't understand why I have to go through this. I don't understand why I couldn't pop myself out of it. But when you said that that's the bridge of incidents, I'm like, yeah, no, I had to do that.
And what happened when you got everything aligned?
Oh, it was wonderful. I met George. And you know what's really funny? He put out there that he wanted, everyone has a list of what they're looking for in a partner. And I had none of the list. But I had something he didn't even know to ask for. And that was how to feel in a relationship and how to be loved as himself. And he didn't even know that's something he should have on the list.
That's incredible.
And yeah, so it's kind of interesting that he said, oh, I want this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, nope. He wanted somebody that was, had he said, smoking job. Well, I work for myself. So some months are smoking and some months we're slow, and it's finally evening out. But we've been together 8 years, and owning a business for a long time was up and down, right? Like when the pandemic hit, I lost all my clients. Like a lot of companies
with the entrepreneur was the challenge.
Right? And it took some time to come back out. And now that we're out of the pandemic, it's gone back to being steady. But, that's
No.
You have to wait for it. So I think we've covered everything, because we could be here for hours. So that means we'll have to come back, and maybe even I could come on your channel. That would be so fun.
Oh, I didn't even have to request. That's awesome. I planned on asking you.
Well, I just see it. When I saw your video, and I liked your energy, by the way, comes through in your videos, and I'm like, that person. I like his energy. You just have like this glow about you. And this is what I think is the embodiment of what you're teaching, is that it literally comes out of you, even through video, which is kind of crazy. But when you think about it, if energy is energy, we're basically pixels in the universe. It's kind of fun when you think about it. And I saw your energy. So if you haven't, I'm just going to remind everybody, I'll put it on the screen too, but go and read the description, because I have all of Clinton's links. So go check them out and subscribe to him, of course. And then, of course, come back and subscribe to me.
We appreciate it.
You aren't already subscribed.
Yes,
we have fun. We have fun here at Words for Winning. This is our words of wisdom on the Words for Winning channel. I thought it was a good name because you win in life and you win in sweepstakes.
And you should always be winning. Like that's a positive affirmation in itself. I love the channel name. Yeah,
that's so good. So yeah, we're going to send everybody over to you. And just to remind people, it's the Neville Goddard, Son of Abdullah YouTube channel. And we're going to have all the links for everybody to click on too. And I thank you so much for hanging out with me today, because we talked for a half an hour before the show started. And I said, oh my gosh, maybe we should be recording this.
It's been a pleasure, Carolyn. I appreciate you having me on. And like I said before, this time with you is proof that the law of assumption and manifestation works.
Yeah.
Because I did nothing except for imaginable acts and seeing myself talking to you. So it works.
That's
people.
Funny.
It works.
I didn't even know you were doing that. And when you said I want to reach 11 million people, I see that as completely doable. There's absolutely no reason you can't have 11 million subscribers or followers across different channels connecting with you.
And it's not even about the subscribers, hopefully reaching them. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I'm in marketing. We like those numbers.
The numbers help, right?
Yeah, I'm very left brain with a little bit of right brain thrown in for good measure. There's a good book by Anthony Mandel called it The Left Brain Turn Right. And yeah, so I'm mainly left brain. So I like those numbers. I like the physicality, and that's one of the reasons I love connecting with people like you, because sometimes I struggle with the 3D because I am so logical. And then I remember that it's okay. And then
Carolyn, I'm telling you, I've been on both sides. As a kid, I was so creative and so out there, but my parents and pushing me in school, I was so logical in all of my training in undergrad, graduate school. All of these things made me so logical and so locked into the 3D. That's why I'm so blessed and happy that these teachings brought me back really to my true self.
Yes. And it's not an accident that you found it right when you needed it to get back to to that, because that was always there. You just kind of did like you said, what was that? The bridge of incidents. It took a few minutes for you to get back to the, and there's no time. Sometimes I remind my guides and angels, I'm like, guys, I'm here on Earth in 3D and we have time. I know you have no time, but I have time. So let's go.
Yeah, but I think once we release being bogged down in the time that we see, they can work faster for us. I feel like, I feel like it's not a test, but they're telling us, hey, just calm down for a second.
Yeah, I'll talk aloud. I'll be the crazy lady walking down the street talking to herself, but I'm not actually talking to me. I'm talking to my guides. I'll have full on conversations. I need to put in earbuds so it looks like I'm on the phone.
It helps, right? You're on the earbuds, nobody knows.
It's just funny. Anyway, thank you so much for connecting. And we're finishing this at 1 hour and 11 minutes.
That is awesome.
111. There you go. That's the sign to sign off.
Synchronicities.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Carolyn.